Welcome to the Mind Meets Medicine podcast, where we believe the future of healthcare is mind meeting medicine. Hi, I'm Kaila, a licensed therapist and founder of a mental health care clinic.
And I'm Dr. Sir, a board-certified psychiatrist.
Together, we will join the fields of medicine and psychology to provide education, elevate guest perspectives, and foster curious, informed conversations. All right.
Today we're talking about success and wasting time.
That feeling of like you're wasting time.
Mm-hmm.
Because we hear it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
From ourselves, from our colleagues, from our friends, from our patients. This pervasive feeling of feeling like you're not on the right path.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not being enough. Not doing enough.
Feeling like there's this expectation you should be somewhere else or further ahead. Welcome to Mind Meets Medicine.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. I think we just thought about talking a little bit about success as it relates to what we see in the room with people. Success as it relates to our own paths to coming to terms with what that even means. And also just wanting to have a conversation with you if you have gone through this human experience of feeling like you've wasted time or haven't yet figured out what success is supposed to mean.
What do you think as a kid you thought it was to be a successful person?
That's interesting. Certainly. Like if I think back to being a kid, it has more to do with what life looked like. Success felt like being married, having kids, being in a home, having a yard, maybe a pet. It felt like community, having friends, spending time. When I was a kid, I don't know that it meant much professionally. I certainly had I want to grow up and be a marine biologist was kind of my thing. Or a zoology, I wanted to kind of interact with the living world, non-humans, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't think I really developed a frame for expectations around that and success as much as it was about what my home looked like.
Yeah.
Was that different for you?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's also ironic that you found not only not animals, but you also picked the profession in medicine where you have to talk probably the most
to
about
other
feelings
humans.
to other humans.
Yeah, about the human experience.
About the human experience. Yes, exactly.
Yes, maybe my initial interest in not wanting to do it was reflective of my growth trajectory for becoming more comfortable with that.
Yeah, and animals are safe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a magic to the ocean and the life that we don't
the
live.
Mystery.
Yeah, I think for me, being a successful person meant to be really smart and good in school and to have some kind of monetary success to back up your this like livelihood. Yes, I think to contextualize it, it meant a house, partnership, kids. But as I got older, I think I had an awareness of, to be a successful person, you also have to have this work ethic and this grind that as a child I was trepidatious of. I didn't know what that looked like
Hmm.
or how to do that. How do you work really hard and make money? And that's what success meant. And it was this identity kind of convergence of success and monetary gain, also with being working really hard. And so if you don't work hard, you're not deserving somehow, in my mind, of the title of being successful and ethically successful.
Mm, mm-hmm,
There was a
mm-hmm,
strong moral code in my mind. And so I always worked babysitting, washing cars, for, like always trying to like get $5 here, $5 there, trying to like earn my keep.
mm,
I had, and then getting a job at 15 in restaurants, that'll really humble you.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah, there was this like big uh, idea for me surrounding if you work hard, you're deserving of being successful, and I don't uh, necessarily agree with that now.
hmm, hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. As you sketch it out more, I'm also noticing. I think at some point there was a developmental switch, but I think that success pre, full indoctrination by family, friends, society, partial indoctrination. I think success was about caretaking.
Yeah.
It was about the achievement in school or the achievement in athletics wasn't necessarily the relevant part. It just provided more safety and more ability and means to take care of my family. And so I guess that's why it doesn't come up first as a younger person, because those were just the means by which the success was. How happy is the family? How flexible and free is the family? How safe is the family because of whatever else happened outside of the home?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until later that that switch turned into more of a academic success, athletic success, and now some amalgamation of community and relationships, but also achieving and striving and growing professionally, that turned on post puberty, interestingly. Yeah.
Yeah. The work hard and almost to your own sacrifice for a future self starts really young
Mm,
with, and I see it in clients and peers and friends, how that switch, I think that kind of what you're alluding to, it happens in puberty where you become aware that you're your fallback
mm,
and that you have some agency in what you make of this life.
mm-hmm,
If you can work hard and perform for teachers or coaches or a parent's approval or a boss, what does that say about you and the kind of reinforcement that you get?
mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes me think about value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's your value?
Well, I'm thinking about that time developmentally. The value is kind of to please the parent, and then it shifts into uh, the value wanting to be liked and part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
The value being wanting to attract a mate and having skills and qualities and resources and means. The value becomes dissolves more into what many, many, many other people think and perceive based on what is on the resume or what you look like or who you're with.
Yeah, you're talking about this external value
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that is so under this microscope when you are, I think, after probably 14, between
Mm-hmm.
those ages of 14 to maybe even like 22, around the
Mm-hmm.
time where people graduate college. Is there another time in life, really? I mean, maybe a little bit of graduate school, if you go on to more education, where you're around thousands of your peers, if you are in a public education system, or even in a town where everybody knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And even as adults, I try to remind parents, since I work with teens, would you want to go show up to your high school graduation or high school
Reunion.
reunion today,
Mm-hmm.
and then do it every single week, every single day, and go be around all of your peers?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's another time in life where we're under such a microscope. And that's our formative template for understanding our own values, what
Mm-hmm.
we bring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also thinking about medicine as a culture
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Those of us who go along this path to become physicians,
Yeah.
your ability, even if there's an intrinsic or altruistic desire to become a doctor, to be a healer, or to help others, the entire path is determined by your value to the system externally. So it's interesting now as I'm a part of the recruitment committee for a residency program. It just reminds me of the need to absorb the idea that my value is tied to externally how other people think and what other people perceive, because in order to advance to each step along this 12-year path, that's the only measure that can be perceived and that matters. What are my test scores? What's my
Yeah.
GPA? And then that just replicates. So after the first year of medical school, what, did I pass my board exams? After the second year, what are my board exam scores? Then how am I scoring on each rotation? And then all of that goes into like someone looking at your piece of paper for 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and then determining whether or not you get an interview and an opportunity to then demonstrate something beyond just a digest of achievements, a digest of successes. And so I think it's really hard to then finish residency and be a young attending and start to begin to undo all of that. Um, all of that ingrained systematic way of thinking about value and success. And I think that's probably a universal experience for professionals, especially if you then go into your own business and then what is your value to the marketplace, even within mental health services? How are people going to choose you to work with?
Do you think, I want to go back to what you said about this, almost this like undoing
Mm,
of, you have to package yourself, you have to get to this certain level, where I would think this is, true for athletes, for
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
even in college, or trying to get on a team, or if you are trying out for a play or anything where you're looking to be chosen, there's this almost this real uh, real reality of rejection
mm-hmm,
that's baked into this, not feeling good enough, not feeling like you are worthy enough,
Mm-hmm.
and preparing constantly. I would imagine, preparing for someone to say no to you, and being there's a devastation with that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so competitive. How do you not take that personally?
Mm-hmm.
Like you aren't enough, or it's not right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's uh it's a complicated mix of faith,
Mm-hmm.
um, also knowing that because you're not being judged by people who know you, it's not really a reflection. It's just a reflection of whatever they think is valuable about what you have done or
That's
haven't
so
done.
important. That it's not you as a person if you're getting rejected or it didn't happen, or,
Mm-hmm.
a peer group didn't accept you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This feeling like we're wasting time, or something isn't happening on the time frame that we want it to happen on.
Or based on
Life,
others.
others, and
Yeah.
life circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really, both working in education and with patients in the room, I feel a need to expand the idea of what time means and what experience means, even if it doesn't lead to degrees within 4 years or this amount of money on this timeline. It's necessary to expand the idea of what time means to us and what we get from it as people, as spiritual beings, as people in relationship, as people with needs. Not making it through in a certain amount of time isn't bad.
Well, and when we compare ourselves to
Mm-hmm.
someone else, we tend to compare up, not down compare, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so easy to compare yourself to the person who's doing a little bit better than you in your peer group. Or we take the leap and compare ourselves to the most popular or well liked or successful in that, maybe successful in a monetary way or in a status way. And coming to kind of what you were saying about this being spiritual beings, being more than just what we are on paper, our achievements, coming back into ourselves and knowing we're on our own journeys. There's nobody else's timeline that we're on but our own. And yet there's this rush. There's
Mm-hmm.
such a rush.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I want to acknowledge, I'm not trying to say there's not a rush to make a living. There's not a rush to get out of the limbo of school and the monotony of a job that you're in that you don't want to be in anymore. That I understand. And we can only be in control of how much we're in control of these external
Mm-hmm.
forces that
Mm-hmm.
are at play all the time.
I said this to someone earlier who was feeling, earlier this week, who was feeling like they had wasted time because they were in their 30s in their graduate program and everyone else is in their 20s and they just feel like they're aging. And so part of the expansion, I even shared personally that if I had not taken time between college and medical school,
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive I wouldn't have been a psychiatrist. There wasn't enough knowing outside of
Yeah.
the academic structure to move around and spend time with myself and be unhappy and be happy and joy and start to piece together my own individual self separate from how I grew up, separate from how I was in college. I wouldn't have ended up as a psychiatrist, certainly not as a first choice. And so we were expanding and starting to incorporate narratives of others who had gone diligently through and then found that they were not, their choices didn't reflect what they really wanted or needed, and then redirected and made a different choice professionally. And like, is that wasted time? You know, it's kind of like it
It's
begins
such
to
a
stretch out the
beautiful,
arbitrary.
yes, it's such a beautiful way of looking at how we can get stuck in this comparative cyclical thinking
Mm,
that other people are somehow on the right track,
mm-hmm,
the track that I would have wanted, without having really parceled out the data points and is that what's right for you?
mm-hmm,
And when we actually really pause and look at it, we realize that there's a kind of a coming to that we're on the path that we're meant to be on. If you have that intrinsic trust in yourself,
mm-hmm.
that, hey, it's okay to take time between programs. It's okay to you know, take a couple years off and you can get back on a track.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow we're so scared of being the oldest one or the youngest one or the one that uh, might need a little bit more time
Mm-hmm.
to get somewhere when in fact so many people would benefit from a little evaluation of why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I actually want this to go by so quickly?
Yeah.
To get to this destination that is an arbitrary thing. Once you arrive at a goal, I would I would make a safe bet that most people don't feel fulfilled when they get to a goal.
Because it's not whatever we thought it was gonna be when we
No.
decided to make the goal.
And by the time you're at the goal,
Mm-hmm.
or you make it to graduation or to some kind of pinnacle of your success,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that, is that definition is for you, by that point, unless you've set some other goalpost in your future, it will feel deeply unfulfilling
Mm-hmm.
because the goal is rarely external, achievement based. That's going to bring contentment, fulfillment, happiness. There isn't a monetary number, usually.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't something that's going to um, say, oh, right, now I like myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now I really respect myself because I did it on this day, and tomorrow I will wake up and be different.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, especially with um, like being a doctor, you know,
I
there's
bet.
like a strong collective expectation that once you have put aside the exploration and joy of your 20s in order to then like reap this a reward with confetti and balloons and praise and you, at least I realized that there wasn't an arrival time, there wasn't a big, life didn't just all of a sudden transform into this miraculous state once I crossed the graduation line. Um, in many ways, the real work began once I
Mm-hmm.
became an attending.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think it's really challenging. Like it's hard to go through a path for so long without creating some sort of narrative or fantasy. Um, but really deeper underneath that process of learning about the body, learning to evaluate, problem solve, learning about the gray space, navigating what's true and skepticism. That is the value, is actually the process of becoming rather than the goal and arriving at the end.
Are you saying it's the journey, not the destination?
Maybe, maybe.
Gosh, it's so funny how those things are actually true.
It doesn't come from
It
nowhere.
doesn't come from
Yeah.
nowhere. Anecdotally, I find that that's when people come to therapy is they
Mm,
reach that moment of I did this huge thing. I committed so much of my life to this and I don't want to start over. And that's scary. And now I I I did the school, I did the tests, I did the marriage, I did the,
mm,
I had the kids, I
children.
bought the
Yeah.
house, I got the job, I got the promotion, and I'm severely unhappy.
Hmm.
How did I get here? And so many times that's why that's the moment people come into therapy is when things are going relatively well
Mm, mm,
and they're depressed and anxious
mm,
and not fulfilled and they look back and it's like I know I made these decisions and I tried to make them in an informed intentional way and yet why am I unfulfilled?
mm-hmm. And then I think a despair sets in.
Yeah,
Like, did I just make a massive mistake and waste time
and waste time.
for the last 10, 15, 20 years?
I can't change my mind now. I can't go back. I'm too far in.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I have to work this job that I don't like, or I
Mm-hmm.
can't change something because I just gave it so much money and time and
Mm-hmm.
energy that I'm going to now force myself to do something that I'm unhappy.
Or even what I'm seeing now too is I've actually reflected and figured out that I know what I want to do now,
Mm-hmm.
but my family, my partner,
Yeah.
my community has expectations that don't allow the space for it. And so now, how do I navigate these choices, the responsibility, and but the inauthenticity about, if that's a word, about
Mm-hmm.
continuing to stay in this path while now knowing that there's something else that would rather like serve my spirit,
Mm-hmm.
in that there's like several people in this position that I'm working with now. Um, and yeah, it feels, I can feel it in the just like the despairing.
Despair is such a hard place to be. It's one of the hardest human experiences. Has to be.
Hmm.
This lack of hope,
Mm. Trapped.
trapped, loneliness, questioning yourself, this lack of self trust,
Mm-hmm.
this like self betrayal
Mm-hmm.
that you got yourself so far into something. And then there's also this like this other part of it that how can I make this palatable and just get through,
Mm.
stick it out? Is that perpetuating the problem more or is that trying not to quit? And it's so individualistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a walk that only only you can make at these intersections of our lives and we will do it over and over and
Mm.
over again. It's not just one time. It's countless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And everybody will go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Continuously.
The idea of being a parent
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
watching my child also go through this It's like achy.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And a parallel
And a
process.
parallel.
While
Yeah.
as the parent, you go through it, the duty as parent, the duty to self.
Dropping in and having, I think, this reminder that we don't have to fix a friend's problems, our child's problems, family, and really listening without having stake in the outcome
Mm,
is what we all want and need in
mm,
this life.
mm,
And how many people actually have, like, if you could count on your hand, how many people in your life could you turn to without judgment?
mm. Which I guess also the conversation is, I feel like, bringing us into the gift of therapy as well. You know,
Totally.
that's why this particular field, the method of therapy, the relationship is so sacred and special.
I was going to say sacred too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because your therapist does not have a bias of what you do with your life. And if something isn't serving you, or if you feel like you're wasting time, maybe there's somewhere to tease that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as I'm thinking about it, if somebody reaches a junction where they're feeling like they're wasting their time, or they're somehow behind in their life in some way, chances are this isn't the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this lack of self-trust that comes into play of how can I trust myself to know what I want? If I got myself here and I made these decisions intentionally, where's the flexibility to be able to change our minds? There was signs before,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to look at those and break down how we got here.
Mm-hmm. I think if if you're wrestling with this idea of wasted time or success, I think that the gift of having the therapy relationship is that hopefully what should happen
Mm-hmm.
uh, is that person doesn't have an expectation of what success looks like in the material world. The If there's any concept of success, it's about how much closer through the process are you getting towards being aware and conscious of what you truly need and value, and then determining whether or not it's appropriate, timely, ripe to make those adjustments and changes.
Yeah. And if we're looking for absolutes, we're rarely going to find them.
Mm,
If we're
mm,
looking for a full send feeling
mm-hmm,
of, I know that I am 100% going to quit this job or go back to school or pull my kid out of this program that they're in,
mm,
or whatever it is that we're wrestling with, we rarely get absolutes, right? We have to go with our gut, that leap of faith
mm-hmm,
sometimes.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And something I like to ask clients is, after we've had a big conversation about something that is even scary admitting, see how you feel afterwards. What happens after that sense of relief where, like, okay, I named it, I talked about it, it's a real thing. And then you're feeling, there's kind of a light that, kind of, well, okay, that's not on my shoulders at this moment. After that happens, what do you feel? Is it a regret? Is it a sense of hopefulness?
mm-hmm,
Sometimes that can be reinstilled in the future after you name something. And sometimes it almost can feel like you're crawling out of your skin
mm-hmm,
to, like,
mm-hmm,
make a move. Slowing things down, not listening to a false sense of urgency, And coming into the body,
Mm.
really dropping into yourself and listening to your internal voice. Sometimes it's, I can stick this out. I do need things outside of maybe work or family life or um, education that brings me something else that I'm not getting,
Mm-hmm.
a relationship. And then on the flip side, sometimes people know when it's time to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And
And maybe need support in making that change without judgment.
not jumping to the future tripping stuff of
Mm-hmm.
all the things that could go wrong,
Mm-hmm.
staying present and putting one foot in front of the other. You're not wasting time.
Mm.
There is no real, you're here in this moment because this is when you came to this moment, this decision, this realization, this awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a data point, it's not the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's information for you to decide at any point with what to do with it. Slowing it down, listening to thyself.
Mm.
Sometimes there is no action that needs to be made. And sometimes people immediately need to go make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And everything in between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wasting time feels like an internal experience. To what extent? Yeah, to what extent wasting time, lack of success, not moving fast enough, is that the voice of the other coming out within your own mind?
Mm-hmm.
And if you remove those other parts of other people, society, where you grew up, I wonder what other way we could look at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's also just to normalize that it's okay to question and to evaluate and to try, make attempts at doing that without judgment of ourselves.
Mm.
The connotation of wasting time or feeling behind or not feeling enough successful, enough educated, enough, you know, feeling like you're less than in some area of your life. It's so self critical. And this lens with which we talk to ourselves, when we make decisions from that place, we're not in this highest self.
Mm.
When we make decisions or look at ourselves from a a having the self-respect to know that we are good and well, maybe well-meaning and fallible,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
flexible, able to course correct, capable of that, knowledgeable, that we could tackle it if we really decided that this wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, doesn't seem as daunting.
Mm.
Comfortability living in the unknown, not knowing what a future might look like.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not all mapped out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which makes me think also that being present in the moment, how much of our lives are we living in the future just to get through the day?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Um, how do you think we should wrap up?
Go to therapy.
I second that.
Yeah, go to therapy.
Especially if this is something that ways.
And do you believe that there is time wasted? I'll ask you.
I think I think that once you decide that time isn't wasted, it stops being wasted.
It's a self cycle.
Hmm.
It's like a
It's reinforced by the
mhm,
idea, by keeping the idea alive itself.
mhm. I agree with you.
Mm.
I think fundamentally I come from this place that we're right where we're supposed to be, and there and that life is not a trajectory that's upwards. It's a
Mm.
circle that's an infinite going round and round endlessly.
Mm.
And there's no destination to get to or
Mm.
mistakes that we weren't, without, I should caveat this without like doing serious harm to others,
Mhm. Mhm.
that the path that we're on is the path that we're on as individuals.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, in
Love
conclusion, it is the journey, not the destination.
that. Yes, yes. Only what, 20 something years to begin to believe it's true
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that the internal self is a compass.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Trusting it, listening to yourself, and going internal is okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and it's necessary because the path is unknown. We may think we're on a path, but it's unknown.
And self imposed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Agency and choice is there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And with that, folks, thanks for listening.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.